You won't believe the absolute gut punch I received that day. A betrayal so deep it felt like my own family had chosen to stab me in the back. It all started with a celebration, but it ended with a devastating realization that shattered everything I thought I knew about my parents and my brother. Okay, so this has been eating at me for a while, and honestly, I just need to get it off my chest. Grab a seat, because this is one of those stories that'll make you shake your head and wonder. My name's Oliver, and I'm the older brother. Growing up, I always felt like the family's workhorse, the one carrying all the weight while my younger brother, Liam, skated through life without a single care. I'm 26 now, just navigating my regular 9 to 5, still figuring things out, but I've always been the reliable one. I actually don't mind it. I was taught that hard work, even if it's a slow burn, eventually pays off. Liam though? He's 22, and let's just say, hard work isn't in his vocabulary. If there's one thing Liam mastered, it was manipulating situations to his advantage. And somehow, he always got everything he wanted, served up on a silver platter, new gadgets, designer clothes, exotic trips. Our parents, mom and dad, they just showered him with whatever he desired. Meanwhile, I was the one stuck with the boring stuff, cleaning the house, running endless errands, doing all the grunt work they couldn't be bothered with. They were so strict with me. You have to earn your place, Oliver, they'd say. Life isn't going to be easy. That was their favorite line. I never really understood why they treated me so differently from Liam. They claimed they wanted me to be responsible and level-headed, and sure, I get that. But it was always on their terms. If something needed doing, I was their go-to. If a big decision had to be made, I was expected to lead. But Liam? He was their golden boy, their prince. Nothing he did was ever wrong in their eyes. I learned to live with that dynamic over the years. Yeah, I didn't get the flashy stuff, but I had something they didn't: independence. I got my first job at 16, worked my way through school, and always kept my life together. Liam, on the other hand, never lifted a finger. It honestly drove me crazy to see them bend over backwards for him. But things really blew up around his graduation. For my parents, it was this monumental event, a grand achievement. Never mind that Liam had barely scraped by, never mind that he'd put in zero effort. They were bursting with pride. And me? Well, you're about to find out. The day of Liam's graduation celebration was a small gathering, nothing extravagant. But you would have thought the whole world was watching. They had a huge cake with his name on it, balloons everywhere, decorations galore. It felt like the most important day of the year for them, and I guess, for them, it really was. Look, I don't want to sound bitter, but it's hard not to when you've been in my shoes. It was like they were so laser-focused on Liam that everything I'd ever done just vanished. I kept that house running smoothly. I helped pay bills when Dad's job wasn't cutting it. I handled the groceries, the laundry, all the thankless tasks that keep a household afloat. Then came the presents. Liam, of course, got his shiny new car, a gift our parents could barely afford. I later found out they'd taken out a massive loan for it. I wasn't mad about the car itself, but the fact that they couldn't afford it yet still went ahead and bought it for him? That really stung, especially when they barely acknowledged the sacrifices I'd made. Then it was my turn. I tried to push down the swirling feelings. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who complains because he didn't get a flashy gift. But what I got, honestly, was a punch to the gut. A total slap in the face. I sat on the couch, the anxiety bubbling, already bracing myself for whatever was coming. Mom smiled at me, but it wasn't her usual warm, loving smile. It felt different, almost condescending. "Oliver, honey," she said, her voice overly sweet, "we know you're so responsible, and we just wanted to make sure you have what you need for your future. We thought this would be practical." I forced a smile back, trying to hide the frustration building inside me. I didn't want to seem ungrateful, but I knew, deep down, this wasn't going to end well. I just had to keep it together. Dad handed me a small box. It was so light. When I opened it, I was utterly unprepared for what I saw. Inside the box was a stack of household cleaning supplies. Paper towels, sponges, dish soap. My heart just sank. There were no words. Not from me, at least. I just stared at the contents, my mind trying to make sense of it all. Dad, I started, but my voice just faltered. What is this? Dad actually chuckled, slapping his knee. Well, Oliver, now you can be even more useful around the house. You've always been so responsible, and this is just another way to show how much you contribute. I blinked. Was this a joke? Liam, sitting right next to me, was grinning ear to ear. He looked at me with this smug, almost mocking expression. Yeah, Ollie, now you can keep things nice and clean. You always seem to be the one doing the chores anyway. My stomach churned. I knew it would be bad, but I didn't expect it to sting this much. They gave my brother a brand new car. A car. And me? Cleaning supplies. I swallowed hard, but my throat felt tight, like I was choking on something I couldn't name. I stood up. I couldn't sit there another second, couldn't look at that pile of cleaning supplies. I'm going to head out for a bit, I managed, my voice cold. I need some air. Without waiting for a response, I grabbed my jacket, threw some clothes into a bag, and just walked out. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't be there anymore. I heard my parents calling after me, but I didn't look back. I don't know how long I walked that night, but it felt like an eternity. I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, not caring where I was headed. I finally stopped at a small bench near a park, my mind a whirlwind. I should have been furious, and I was, but mostly I was just tired. Tired of always being the responsible one, tired of doing everything right only to be ignored or dismissed. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through messages from friends, desperate for a distraction. I didn't want to go home, but where else could I go? That house, once my home, now felt like a cage. I finally called a cab and headed to my friend Jake's place, just needing some space. When I got there, I told Jake everything. He listened quietly, but I could see the frustration building in his eyes. He knew what I'd been dealing with. You don't deserve that, Oliver, he said, his voice tight. You've been busting your ass for years, and they just keep using you. You're not a damn maid. I let out a shaky sigh, the weight of years crashing down on me. I don't know what to do anymore, I confessed. I've given everything to them, and Liam, he doesn't appreciate anything. He's spoiled and they act like he can do no wrong. Jake was quiet for a moment, then he said something that hit me like a ton of bricks. Why don't you leave? For real. Go get a job, start over somewhere else. You don't need them, man. You've got this. He was right. I didn't have to stick around. I didn't have to keep being their backup plan, the one they turned to only when they needed help. It was terrifying to imagine leaving everything behind, but in that moment, it felt like the only way to truly break free. I spent the night at Jake's, and when I woke up, I knew what I had to do. This wasn't just about a stupid gift anymore. It was about my entire life, about how my parents had always valued Liam over me. So, I packed my bag with everything I truly needed and went back to their house to tell them I was leaving. They weren't home yet, which, in a weird way, made it feel even more final, like I was closing a chapter one could never return to. When they finally got back, it didn't take them long to realize something was off. I was halfway through packing up my last few things when I heard their car pull into the driveway. My heart skipped a beat as the front door creaked open. Oliver. Mom's voice echoed down the hallway, laced with surprise. Where are you going? I walked into the living room, my bag in hand. I'm leaving, Mom. What? Her voice faltered. Where are you going? You can't just leave like this. I kept my tone steady, but I could feel the tension radiating off me. I've been carrying this family for too long. It's time for me to go. You and Dad don't need me, not really. You've always had Liam for everything else. The look on her face was pure disbelief, like she couldn't process my words. Oliver, you know we depend on you. You've been so helpful and now this is the thanks we get. I didn't let her guilt trip me this time. I've been helpful because you've never given me a choice. You've always expected me to clean up after everyone. Liam does whatever he wants, and you keep giving him everything. Well, I'm done. Dad stepped into the room, looking utterly confused. What do you mean you're done? You're going to leave the family after everything we've done for you? You've done nothing for me, Dad, I replied, keeping my voice eerily calm. Liam gets a car, and I get cleaning supplies. That's how much I mean to you. Mom's face twisted, almost panicked. You don't understand. We've been making sacrifices for your future. You're not seeing the bigger picture. I shook my head. No, I'm done seeing the bigger picture. You've never seen me. You've only seen what you can use me for. But I'm not doing this anymore. I turned to leave, but Liam was suddenly in the doorway, a smug expression plastered across his face. Wow, Ollie leaving already? Guess you can't handle the family spotlight, huh? I mean, I just got a brand new car for graduation. What do you have? A bag of cleaning supplies? He actually laughed. My blood boiled. Shut up, Liam, I snarled through gritted teeth. You don't have a clue. Mom shot him a glare, then turned back to me, her voice a bit more frantic. Where are you even going to go? You can't just leave us like this. I didn't answer. I just walked out the door, leaving everything behind. It wasn't until I was in a cab, heading to a small apartment I'd secretly rented that very morning, that I felt the full weight of what I'd just done. For the first time in years, I felt free. The following year was a blur. I found a 9-to-5 sales job, just to keep things steady, but my real plan was always my side hustle. It took time, a lot of hard work, and plenty of late nights, but after a few months, I started seeing real results. I was making money online, not just a little, but enough to start thinking bigger. I was no longer dependent on my family, no longer living in my brother's shadow. As my success grew, that's when the calls started. I had gone from paycheck to paycheck, relying on my parents, to a self-sufficient adult with financial freedom. I wasn't a millionaire, but the sense of independence and control over my life was worth more than anything. Every time I checked my bank balance and saw those numbers climb, it felt like a huge victory. But of course, as my success grew, so did my family's need to reach out. It started with a text from my mom. At first, it was casual, she was trying to sound normal. Hey Oliver, how's the new place? Hope you're settling in well. Have you been able to keep busy with work? I could tell it was a thinly veiled attempt to get me to open up about what I was doing. So, I kept my response simple and vague. I'm doing well. Work's keeping me busy, but it's going good. That was it. A couple of days later, I heard from her again. This time, it wasn't just a check-in. The tone was different. Oliver, your dad and I have been thinking. We're really proud of you. You've always worked hard, and we just wanted to tell you that we're here for you no matter what. I could practically hear the tension in her words. They were testing the waters, hoping to open the door for something more. I knew exactly what they wanted. I kept my reply neutral. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. A week later, another message. This time, it was from Liam. Hey Ollie, hope you're doing all right. I know things are a bit tense between us, but I just wanted to check in. How's work going? I've been thinking about you. Liam. Thinking about me? That was new. He had never cared about anything but himself. I didn't want to be petty, but I also wasn't going to pretend everything was fine. So I gave him the same vague answer I'd given Mom. Everything's good. Work's going well and I'm staying busy. A couple of days after that, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was my mom calling. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. Hello. Oliver, honey, it's Mom, she said, her voice almost sickeningly sweet. I hope you're doing well. Your dad and I were just talking. We were wondering if you could come by soon? We really miss you. It's not the same without you here. My stomach dropped. It felt like a trap. They hadn't missed me before, at least not in the way they were claiming. It had been months since I left, and suddenly they wanted to act like they cared? I could practically hear the desperation in her voice. I don't know, Mom, I said, trying to sound neutral, but not giving in. I've got a lot going on here. Things are different. She was quiet for a second, and I could hear her breathing on the other end. I waited, knowing what was coming. Well, it's just that with everything that's been going on, we've been struggling a little, with your brother's car and all, and with the bills stacking up. It's been a lot for us lately. We could really use your help. There was. I knew it. They had been in debt, taking out loans to buy Liam his car, and now they were struggling to keep up. They hadn't thought about how they'd manage long-term, and suddenly they remembered I existed. But it wasn't because they were concerned about me, it was because they needed something. My heart tightened. I don't know what you expect from me, Mom, I said. I'm not coming back. I've built my life here. I heard her voice falter. We know you're doing well, Oliver. We just thought you could help us out a little, that's all. Just to get back on our feet. I didn't respond right away. I was processing what she was saying, how easily they expected me to just drop everything, return home, and fix their mess. Listen, Mom, I'm not coming back. You and Dad have made your choices. You decided to put everything into Liam. You can't just come to me when things get hard. You can't expect me to fix it. There was a long silence on the other end. Then, finally, my mom spoke, her voice almost pleading. Oliver, please. We've made mistakes, but we're trying. We really need you. I wasn't sure what I felt anymore. Anger? Sympathy? Resentment? A bitter mix of all of it. I had worked so hard to get away from that place, and now they were trying to manipulate me into coming back to be their backup once again. I can't help you, I said, feeling my resolve solidify. I've worked too hard for this. I'm not going to put myself back in that situation. That was the first of many calls. They came more frequently over the next few weeks, each time more desperate. Mom and Dad, each with their own version of pleading, reminding me how much they needed me, how much they'd sacrificed for me. They even mentioned Liam, talking about how his grades were slipping now that he had the car, how he couldn't handle the pressure of adult life. But every time I refused, they pushed harder, until the calls stopped coming. The silence was almost worse than the constant begging. I knew they were upset, I knew they were angry, but that didn't stop me from living my life. Then one day, I got a message from Liam. This time, it was different. It wasn't just about checking in or saying he missed me. It was a cry for help. Oliver, I need you to help me. Things are getting out of hand. Dad's been really upset lately, and Mom, she doesn't know what to do. We're in serious trouble. I didn't respond right away. I wasn't sure if I should even reply. What did he want from me? What was he trying to pull? Finally, after a few minutes, I decided to send a short reply. What do you want from me, Liam? His response came quickly, and the urgency in his words was clear. I'm serious, Ollie. We're in debt. We can't handle the car payments. I don't know who else to turn to. I could feel my heart sink. This wasn't just about them anymore. This was about a family falling apart. And Liam, the one who'd been handed everything on a silver platter, was finally realizing how bad things had gotten. I sat there for a moment, staring at the message on my phone, my fingers twitching with frustration. Then I typed out a reply. Liam, you don't get it, do you? This isn't my problem. The words were harsh, but I felt like I needed to say it. It wasn't just about money or material things anymore. It was about principles. I wasn't going to be their fallback savior. They put me in a position where I was the one who had to sacrifice everything. I wasn't going to let them do it again. I stared at the screen for a few more seconds before adding, You and Dad put yourselves in this mess. I told you guys when I left I was done. I'm not coming back to fix things for you. Don't ask me to. I hadn't even pressed send when my phone rang. It was my mom. The last thing I wanted to do was talk to her right now, but the call kept ringing, and it seemed like I was going to have to face it. I picked up with a deep sigh. "Hello. Oliver, honey," she started, and I could already hear the crack in her voice. She was trying to keep her composure, but the desperation was obvious. "I don't know what to do. You need to come back. Your dad, he's not handling things well. He's been so upset, Ollie. I'm just worried about him. And Liam, well, he's not doing well at all. His grades are slipping. He doesn't know how to manage everything. It's just getting worse." I clenched my jaw, my patience wearing thin. "Mom, I don't care about their problems. I have my own life now. I told you I wouldn't come back. You chose to spoil Liam and ignore me for years. Now, when things are hard, you want me to drop everything and fix it. No." There was silence on the other end of the phone. I could tell she was hurt by my words, but I wasn't about to apologize. "Not this time. Mom, you need to figure this out on your own," I continued, my voice growing more firm. "I'm not responsible for your financial mistakes. I'm not your backup." Her voice trembled. "I'm not asking you to fix everything, Oliver. We just thought maybe you could help us out a little. That's all. It's hard and we don't know who else to turn to." I could feel my temper rising. "You thought you could just ignore me when I needed help, and now that you're struggling, you think I owe you? What happened to your perfect family that didn't need me? The one where everything was supposed to be fine as long as Liam had everything handed to him?" Her voice cracked. "It's not like that, Ollie. We've made mistakes, but we're trying to do better now. Please, just come home." I felt a bitter laugh rise in my throat. "I'm not coming back. And I'm certainly not going to keep bailing you out. You can't just call me when it's convenient for you. You made your choices." "Oliver, please," she started, but I interrupted. "No. I've heard this all before. I'm not your solution. You want to fix things? Start with Liam. He's the one who's got the luxury car, the one who's never worked a day in his life. You want to know what adulting looks like? Stop using me as your crutch and figure it out yourselves." I could hear her sobbing now, her tears coming through in her words. "You don't understand, Ollie. You don't understand how hard it's been. Please." I felt a twinge of guilt in my chest, but I pushed it away. I couldn't let myself fall back into their trap. "I understand perfectly," I said, my voice hardening. "But I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to put my life on hold to fix yours. You need to face the consequences of your choices." I hung up before she could say anything else, letting out a long breath. My hands were shaking not from fear, but from the frustration that had been building up for months. They had always seen me as someone who could be manipulated, someone who could be pushed into action whenever they needed me. But not anymore. I knew it wouldn't be the end of it. I knew they'd try again. My mom had always been persistent when she needed something, and my dad was the type to sulk and try to guilt-trip me. But I wasn't going to give in. I had worked too hard to get to where I was, and I wasn't going to let them drag me back into that life. About a week later, as I was getting ready to leave work, I saw a notification pop up on my phone. It was from my dad. "Oliver, we know we messed up," the message read. "Your mom and we've been trying to fix things, and we're sorry. We were wrong. We don't want you to think we only care about what you can do for us. We want our family back. We want you back. Please, Oliver, come home. Let's fix things. We'll work together." I stared at the message, my heart hammering in my chest. I wasn't sure what to feel. A part of me, a deep, buried part, wanted to believe them, to think that maybe, just maybe, they were truly sorry. But the logical part of my mind screamed, reminding me of everything they had done, how they had taken me for granted, used me, manipulated me into being the one to clean up their messes. I had been their backup plan for far too long, and I was done. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I sat there in my apartment, replaying everything in my mind. The way they had treated me, how they had never shown a fraction of this supposed love when I truly needed it. Now, after everything, they were suddenly begging for my help. I wasn't buying it. A few days passed, and I didn't hear from them again. I started to think they might have finally given up. Maybe they had learned their lesson. Maybe they realized that they could no longer rely on me, that I wasn't their emotional bank account, their last resort. Then another message came. But this time, it wasn't from my mom or dad. It was from Liam. "You're really going to leave us hanging like this? What's the point of family if you don't help when we need it? You've been selfish. We're struggling, and you're just going to let us drown? I thought you were better than this." There it was again. The manipulation, the guilt, the same old tactics. I wasn't surprised that it was Liam this time. He had always been the one to play the victim when things didn't go his way, the one who thought the world should revolve around him. But this time, I wasn't going to let it work. I sat down, typing out my response slowly, making sure every word hit its mark. "You don't get it, Liam. I'm not your backup, and I'm not your savior. You're the one who always gets everything handed to you, and now that things aren't perfect, you want to blame me for your problems? I don't owe you anything. You're grown just like I am. It's time you learn to stand on your own 2 feet. You've had your life handed to you on a silver platter, and now you want me to come back and fix everything? That's not how this works. Don't ever contact me again unless you're ready to be honest about what you've done." I pressed send, my finger trembling slightly. I'd never been more sure of a decision in my life. But that wasn't the end of it. A few weeks later, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't pick it up, but something told me I had to. When I answered, it was my dad on the other end. "Oliver, we know we messed up," he said, his voice more fragile than I'd ever heard it. "Your mom and we've been trying to fix things, and we're sorry. We were wrong. We don't want you to think we only care about what you can do for us. We want our family back. We want you back." The words hit me harder than I expected. There was a tiny, hopeful part of me that wanted to believe them, to think that maybe, just maybe, they were truly sorry. But the logical part of my mind reminded me of everything they had done, how they had taken me for granted, used me, manipulated me into being the one to clean up their messes. I had been their backup plan for far too long, and I was done. "I'm not coming back, Dad," I said, my voice steady. "Not now, not ever. You've had your chance, and you've used it all up. You can't just expect me to forget everything just because you're sorry now. You made your choices. I'm making mine." There was a long silence on the other end, and I could hear the sound of him breathing heavily. "I understand," he finally said, his voice completely defeated. "But please, just know we're here if you ever change your mind." I hung up the phone and sat there in the quiet of my apartment, feeling a strange, profound sense of relief. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was truly free. It's been a year now since that last conversation. My parents have tried to contact me a few times, but I've stayed firm. I'm not going to let them back into my life, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Over the past year, I've been building something for myself, something that will ensure I never have to rely on anyone again. My income is growing steadily, and in a few more months, I'll be at the point where I can truly call myself financially independent. And to be honest, a part of me knows that when they find out I've gotten to that point, they'll come knocking again. But this time, I won't be there. So, here's my question to you, my friend. After hearing all this, am I wrong for refusing to help them? I'm honestly torn between feeling like I did the right thing and feeling a lingering guilt about leaving them behind. It's hard because they're family. But after everything, I just don't know if I can ever truly forgive them. What would you do?